What's going on, guys? This is just another critic back with another episode, and this is going to be a two-part episode. First part, I'm talking about Trevor Lawrence. Is he really the number one college quarterback in college football right now? And so we're reviewing his national championship film. Go ahead and click on the link in the description. It's going to take you to the video that I'm reviewing right now, as well as you're going to hear obviously my commentary, so you don't need to keep the podcast open. But the reason I chose the national championship game is because this is where most people decided that Trevor Lawrence had separated himself from Tua as the number one quarterback in the nation, right? So the question here isn't whether or not Trevor is a good, a great quarterback. He's a good quarterback. We've already seen evidence that he's a great quarterback. The real question that I'm trying to help other people, answer for themselves is what is it that makes him the number one guy in the nation in college football, right? What is it? Did he actually do anything to separate himself from Tua in this national championship game? If you're just watching the film, he started with 3 incompletions, finally finding his rhythm, hitting a few underneath passes. Now he just hit T. Higgins over the top seam. And so basically safety got frozen with his eyes in the backfield. T. Higgins wide open. But that type of throw shouldn't impress you, because that's a throw that a college quarterback should be making, really. You bring in any other quarterback, he's got to hit that open man. So, moving along, as we're watching this film, Trevor won the game, right? That's quite evident. And so I hear a lot of people who, come to me and say, well, Trevor won the head-to-head, dude. He's obviously the better guy. If it were that simple, I'd agree with you if it was just based on the head-to-head. But it's not that simple, because Trevor isn't playing Tua. It's not Tua against Trevor. It's Tua against Clemson's defensive unit, Trevor against Alabama's defensive unit, as you see T. Higgins hit in acres of space coming across the field. This was all night. Savion Smith getting just, confused, destroyed, whatever you want to call it. He just could not cover his man. And then we get a draw here. But yeah, going back to the head-to-head, if it wasn't clear enough to you guys, Clemson clearly had the better defense in 2018. And so, coming into this game, Alabama had been struggling in the secondary. Majority of that coming from Savion Smith, and that started way beyond the college football playoff. That started versus Georgia. Then we saw it even more in the Oklahoma game in the second half, and then in this game again, Savion Smith just, I don't know. I have no idea why the coaches didn't pull him earlier. It took an injury to get him out of the game, but that was probably one of the biggest things that Clemson may have been targeting all night. You see him at the bottom of the screen, Savion Smith, number 4. But a lot of what people talk about, especially when it comes to this debate between Trevor and Tua, is that Tua has struggled versus some of the best defenses in the nation, right? Top 30 defenses. And so Trevor, he played one top 25 defense all year. And guess what? That was versus Alabama. Hold that thought. Let's have a look at this throw. That should be an interception. That wasn't a good throw at all. But that's not going to show up on the stat sheet. It's not going to say deflection, catch. It's just going to say catch, right? So these are things that don't show up on the stat sheet. Not the best decision made. Obviously, he's a freshman quarterback, so I guess we'll let it slide. Steps into the pocket. Once again, Savion Smith just cannot stick to his man. He's got 2 to 3 yards of separation. And I'm not taking anything away from Trevor, man. He's just doing his job, right? Taking what the defense gives him. Hitting his open guys. Like, that's his job. He's just doing his job. And so that's not the question here, though. What I'm trying to figure out is what makes him a better quarterback than Tua. I haven't seen anything yet in this game or in the film. He's really just, like I said, taking what the defense gives him. Beautiful throw. Right in that little pocket of zone. Behind the corner. Below the safety. But even with this throw, this is a throw that Tua makes all the time to the outside. Even other college quarterbacks are making these throws. So one of his better throws that I saw throughout, watching his film, he does have a great back shoulder throw. He's got great timing and great ball placement when it comes to, making that throw with his wide receivers. Another great throw. Justin Ross just doing his job, hitting the open man. But once again, 2 to 3 yards of separation against Savion Smith. Can't take anything away from him there. Just throwing up a jump ball with the flag on the play. And then Justin Ross coming across the middle. He missed that back shoulder, but happens. And then misses that little bubble route. You see, this is where his height's supposed to come into play. He's 6'6". He's got to stand tall, throw that floater. That's probably a touchdown right there. Quarterback keeper. And so I'll say it again, right? Trevor's a good quarterback. And he most certainly can eventually become the number 1 quarterback in the nation. But right now, I haven't seen him really have to make any big-time pressure throws into tight windows. Let's have a look at this play, right? This is where, once again, Savion Smith fell down at the line of scrimmage. Justin Ross is in acres of space. He just threw it to an open man. Like, I don't know any other quarterback who can't do that as well. And I talked about that back shoulder throw. But that Justin Ross throw, which accounted for, 70-plus yards and a touchdown. A little off on the timing there. This is one of his better throws as well, for sure. Threw it on that outside shoulder. Justin Ross kind of tries to stack his man there. And just brings it in with one hand, which he did again. So look on the right side of the screen, right? 130, 112, a touchdown. Take away that 40-yard reception. That's about 200 yards given up by Savion Smith. And so that is to no fault of Clemson, right? They're just taking advantage of the poor coverage by one man. So I just don't see why Alabama coaches didn't see that sooner. And then we've got another. That was a bad throw. Like, if you don't think that was a bad throw, I don't know what to tell you. But that doesn't show up on the stat sheet. It just shows up as a catch, right? Justin Ross, man, just was making big plays all night. And so, like I was saying, I understand that Trevor is just still a freshman and has a lot of room for growth. and we expect him to get better during this offseason. I think this is the slant coming. Bing. That was by far his best throw of the night, in my opinion. And I'll tell you why. Obviously, he's 6'6". And so kind of how Kirk is explaining in the background, he throws this over the linebacker underneath the backside safety or corner, whoever that is. And so the great thing about this throw is it's one of those throws that it's a win-win. And so it's either going to end up in the hands of his receiver or it's going to go out of the back of the end zone, right? So it's either a touchdown or you get another down to try and make a play. So great throw here. In my opinion, his best throw tonight. And so like I was saying, Trevor's just a freshman. He's got a lot of room for growth. First year as a starter, right? But this was also Tua's first year as a starter. So both guys have a lot of room for growth. But in this game, I don't see where a gap was created that Trevor is just, oceans apart from Tua, right? And a lot of the media were getting so hyped to the point where a lot of them were even saying that this Trevor Lawrence could have been the number 1 draft pick in the 2019 draft. And so a lot of the reason why these NFL scouts or these NFL analysts are getting so hyped is because he's got that prototypical look, right? He's 6'6". He's like probably around 218. He's just got that quarterback look, right? Quote unquote. That prototypical look that the NFL guys just like and that they would prefer to take a chance on. Tua, on the other hand, he's about 6'1", probably 217. And so NFL guys just like taller dudes. It's very simple. So, I mean, with that being said, man, I've pretty much said all I want to say. Trevor is a great quarterback. All I'm saying here is he didn't show me anything that Tua hasn't already done or can't do, right? And the obvious discrepancy between the two quarterbacks is the height. For me, nothing else. As far as, their skill sets, their attributes, etc., etc. But outside of that, it's just the height for me. And like I said, this is going to be a 2-part episode. And in the second episode, I'm going to talk about Tua and why he's still my guy as the number 1 quarterback in the nation. So, last year, it was clear Clemson dethroned Alabama. But for me, Tua was not dethroned as the best quarterback in the nation. With that being said, let's jump over to part 2, where I'll go ahead and review Tua's film.